Hello, I'm Hovik Manucharyan, and we are doing our second interview today with a respected guest about the urgent situation in Artsakh. It's a collaborative effort between Groong podcast and 168 Hours in an effort to increase the English language coverage about the crisis. Our guest today is Tevan Poghosyan, president of the International Center for Human Development in Yerevan. Mr. Poghosyan was an MP in the National Assembly from 2012 to 2017 from the Heritage Party, and from 1997 to 1999 he served as Nagorno-Karabakh Public Affairs Office Director in Washington, D.C. Hello and welcome, Tevan.
Thank you, Hovik, for the invitation.
As a reminder, this is day 9 of the blockade imposed by Azerbaijan that has affected 120,000 Armenian compatriots who are trapped in Artsakh. The only lifeline route is blocked, and the Turkish-Azerbaijani alliance effectively took advantage of the situation around the region, the war in Ukraine, to impose this blockade on Armenians of Artsakh. And the latest news, obviously also we have reports now of the first death of someone who needed urgent care, and they were not able to get that in Stepanakert. There are children, there are more than 1,000 Artsakh residents who are stuck in Yerevan, among them children whose parents are back in Stepanakert. So it is a situation that is affecting the whole Armenian nation. And let's begin with the latest news, which was publicized by Hovik Manucharyan in a tweet. He said that so-called environmental activists of Azerbaijan have taken responsibility for checking the humanitarian cargo and are preventing the unhindered passage of cargo through the Lachin corridor. Basically, they have illegally reserved customs duties. This nonsense has to be stopped. And his tweet was accompanied by a video showing Azerbaijanis installing some structures on the near their portion of the Lachin or Bertsor corridor. So let's begin with just a general question. Why now? Why is Azerbaijan going to this move now? And what are their short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals?
The major goal is to eliminate all Armenians in the region, eliminate Armenian statehoodness and everything. And based on that, they're doing their tactical calculations based on which time would be okay. Now, before the signing with EU new gas deal, electricity deal or so on, they started a process where perfectly knows that, for example, so-called international community will not raise the voice high. Second, they used environmental project as a very important issue for so-called West value system and so on, without any ever paying attention to be a serious about that. But the major ideas is it's winter. Why not to make that New Year Eve, which is traditionally considered to be another hope for something, will be spoiled. And this is not the first time in their behavior, and this is the best element in their calculations for the situation in West Russia confrontation, be it in Ukraine or be it even on this part. It's the most convenient time when Turkey is very needed, as few requests came from different sides, like Russia is asking Turkey to become a oil hub or gas hub. Then Russia would be playing not the high card. West is very important with working with the Turkey to have secured their interest, at least vis-a-vis the Iran development, which means that Turkey again has a high card, and on that regard, in their calculations, I do believe that they done or consider that this will be the right decision to start now. They first went to some escalation on the military point when, for example, during even EU monitors here, they've been shooting at Armenian borders, moving a lot of militaries around front line with Artsakh Republic. And when all we think that they would go with something on the military point, they went on the civilian track, first using with the 15, I think, environmentalists closing for 3 hours, we didn't pay attention to that problem, and we didn't take immediate decisions considering that something would be okay. But after checking and seeing that it's okay, reactions wasn't being very strong, they went there for the much long-term stand, and now we have a 9 days, and I think it will be also very, very long, because they trying by this one move to hit numerous targets.
Right. So you actually believe that this will not be resolved soon?
It would be resolved, or let's say resolved. I would like that we will, for us, that what's mean a resolution for
Yes.
me. See, until I'm not discussing content of that resolution, I don't know what's mean it will resolve. For example, it would be open for 10 minutes and then would close again. Is it resolution or not?
Yeah.
For me, a resolution, if that road which is connecting Artsakh Republic and Republic of Armenia is controlled by the Defense Army of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic and Armenian military forces. This is a resolution for me. Anything before, until that situation would come, is not a resolution. It's temporary, some kind of a possibilities which we need to understand how to utilize.
Right.
That's why when we're speaking about resolution, no, it wouldn't be resolved soon, and I don't believe that resolution, even if tomorrow some international community pressure will make in a way that Azerbaijan will step out for 1 day, doesn't mean it will not go. They can open up the road, close the gas. They can open up the gas, cut the electricity. They can do the other one with the communication, and so on and so on. And that's why, for example, if we will be looking at international community would find a way to bring the pressure even to having air, for example, connection, which is requested by the Artsakh. It's something positive, but until Azerbaijani military standing there, any plane would be under the target.
Yes.
And so that's why it's also not the final order. It's kind of a bunch of alternatives, but not the resolution. And I don't think that it would be a situation will resolve soon.
Okay.
Maybe as of today, because, for example, in UN there would be discussion, they would come for some easy, maybe, propositions, see, like we are not doing. But in reality, on the before that event, each side is preparing their interest side.
Okay.
And that's why if we will go with this, then I would say that if something even would be happening today, it's only for the UN resolution discussion. After that, everything would go back to the old business.
And we'll talk about the UN resolution, but first I want to talk about the Russian peacekeepers who were put in a very precarious situation when Azerbaijan basically blocked the corridor as in the pretense or pretext of the eco activists. There are reports basically that these demonstrators are, intelligence employees of the government of Azerbaijan, but in general, I mean, we've seen that the Russian options are also limited, and so far they have not been able to unblock the corridor. What can Russia do to remove the blockade? And while that is being sort of worked on, we see the governments both in Azerbaijan and Armenia blame the Russians for the situation. Do you think that that blame is deserved, and what should have the Russian peacekeepers done better?
The most important thing, like what they can do, the Russians better, they're doing the best to serve to the Russian interest. Now, situation should be understanding that anyone in the lodging, or let's say in the road Gori-Stepanakert or Berdzor corridor, because we need to at least start in our thinking, as we said, that what's my resolution with the content, our thinking should be also in Armenia. Right? That's why we need to permanently use the proper abbreviations and names and so on. I think on that regard, Russian military is serving the interest of Russia. Where the interest of Russia is decided? In Moscow.
Yes.
Then for Yerevan should be most important things. Instead of blaming, go and work that in Moscow that interest would be. Because when you're asking like what the gun with man with the gun in the head could do best, to have an order. Militaries are serving by orders. Now, to give the order, or you're giving a general one, which is called mandate, and describing the all situations, I believe that any country in the world who is sending its militaries to the peacekeeping operations, they have the written mandate on explanations each situation and behavior. I didn't read any mandate. And then if you would ask me, should we now blame whom? I would say that only us, because
we signed the November 9/10 declaration.
we signed it.
Yes.
It's our signature. And from the first day, I only heard one that Armenia has been saying, or Armenian today's ruling authorities has been pronouncing, that we need to work on the mandate issue to understand how they need to serve. These scenarios has been predictable. The moment when Azerbaijan has been saying that I'm not going to discuss mandate of Russian peacekeepers, it's the first sign when we perfectly need to understand one day such kind of a scenario would be. And until we are just simply easily waiting until this day happening, we need to perfectly understand the blame should be only on us. Russian soldiers would be always serving to the Russian interest. The same way as American soldiers serving American interest. French soldiers to interest of France. Chinese soldiers would be serving interest of China, not anyone. Only Armenian soldiers would be serving to the interest of Armenia. And that's why how we bring that to situation. Now, if you're asking me, what is the situation? Today's representative whom you have been citing is the beginning, and a lot of people have been saying like it's Russian responsibility. Who provide them that responsibility?
Right.
Where it's written that it's Russian responsibility? Because in this case, we need to always blame for any issues. Like Armenian prisoners of war are not returned back from Baku, it's because of Russia, like Putin has signed that document. Berdzor corridor should be planned, only that plan should be endorsed within 3 years, but I don't know, we agreed on something else.
In a year and a half, yes.
Who agreed? Russian militaries? For them there is no difference on which point of any hill they would be staying, on the left side, on the right side. Russian interest preserved until the Russian soldiers is here.
Yes.
Now, out of all these ideas, it should be our interest to understand how to work, to provide something on the as a mandate, and says that now go and serve. Is the zone of their responsibility? Yes, it's the zone of their responsibilities over which we didn't hear that, for example, on that road someone has been killed during this time, some military actions, some shooting took place, and so on. In this mandate, no one has how the, for example, road traffic law has been working.
Yes.
Is it also their responsibilities? Like, is there anyone who is standing and saying, if your speed limit is 60 and you're passing, who is kind of punishing the driver?
Right.
Zone of responsibility on this regard. Say like, whenever you're bringing to the small kids, now would they come and say that it's Azerbaijan is closed the road, or again will say that Russians closed the road?
Yeah.
Well, Russians is not interested in the closing road. They interested that they get every day praise of their good service. And when, for example, we're looking on this during these 9 days, we see a lot of videos how Azerbaijani special service ecologist has been using any bed.
Yeah, they're harassing the Russian soldiers.
And something else. Why the Russian soldiers have been tolerating that? Only because you perfectly understand it. I'm serving to the interest of my nation, Russian Federation. In other case, no one would be tolerating that part.
Yes.
Let's get this point, and after that start to argument. What is our interest?
I mean, there's a lot of truth in what you say, but always, politicians obviously want to.
If we have this very interesting point in Armenia when the politicians trying to blame each other,
Yes.
but saying that I'm not the one who done anything bad, it's only the others is doing
Yes.
anything bad. Okay, with this all blame, how they feeling a pain for another Armenian?
Yeah, I mean, that's an unfortunate situation where 120,000 of our brothers and sisters are in that situation. But
And see, like, we're talking about now sitting in a city with the biggest Armenian population in the world, in any place, in the whole world, 1 million or something. And we need to raise our voice of urgency, our voice of call for our brothers. Have you feeling that the million city of Armenians, with the Armenian leadership in it, are raising that issue? And this is not an anymore issue of leadership or political struggle or something like this.
yes,
It's about the humanitarian point of this.
why do you think actually that is? Why do you think, for instance, yesterday I was talking with Hovik Manucharyan here, and he talked about the concept of, I guess, learned helplessness, where is it the population is not briefed? Is it the government's responsibility to, help guide the population?
It's always government responsible in any country.
Right.
Armenia is not unique on that part.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's not only in Armenia the ruling part. In America is anything that happening in America is today's American leadership is responsible. That's why issue of responsibility always with the government.
And I was raising one point, which is like, one simple thing which didn't require any risks with Azerbaijan would be to cover this UN protest in a better manner. For instance, they have full control of public TV. If there were public TV cameras rolling in front of the UN where Artak Beglaryan is doing a sit-in right now, I'm sure a lot of people would learn about the situation better. So why aren't they doing that?
Because it's not in their interest. Their interest is not our compatriots, Armenians, who are living in Artsakh. So, like, if you're looking even the wording, let's all Artsakis go to Artsakh. But I didn't hear that. Let's all Gyumris go to Gyumri. Let's all Vanadzorci go to Vanadzor or something like this. If we are Armenian and this is our homeland, what's the difference? Why we're not saying that let's Armenians go to Artsakh?
Yeah.
On using this. But whenever you're saying why the camera is not ruling, only cameras should be ruled there. I would suggest why the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is not calling all ambassadors and not arranging meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Why Armenian state institutions are not providing how many international TV presence we have here? Where are all this reportage? Where are all the reports? Where are all the stories?
Right.
Like, we don't doing anything as a nation, as a government ideas, as a even point. For example, I do believe that sometimes this has become mosaic in UN Security Council discussions. The sides bringing videos, some photos and something like this. What kind of a photos Armenia would be presenting? What kind of a videos would be presenting? I didn't see them in reality. Sides of showing the urgency, showing the real need. Because they didn't work out on it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're looking at this, it seems like they also agreed on something. Because you don't feeling anything.
Yes.
You don't feeling anything to go in there on the way of everyday speaking. I remember that, I think May 2019, May 9 in Shushi, Nikol Pashinyan was also on the prime minister.
Yeah, he was riding high on the wave of his so-called revolution.
Artak Beglaryan has been appointed at that time ombudsman of Artsakh. When he came to Shushi, to that celebration place, I remember how Nikol Pashinyan walked towards him. He approached him, greet and say, now the same Artak Beglaryan in the front row. And Nikol Pashinyan is having the same distance from the Republic Square.
Yes.
Why he's not ever going to showing? At that time, I do believe that public TV camera will be following him.
Mm-hmm.
Go there, shake his hand, even speak, to show the urgency. I do believe that after such kind of an approaches, a lot of international organizations here or ambassadors would also start to understand that they need to do something.
Right.
Until the government will not show that this is my national interest issues, would be. And I'm very glad that today, first time, State Minister of Artsakh Republic, Hovik Manucharyan, raised these issues openly. Raised that issue openly to in his interviews, and it should be there to that the whole Armenian nation should understand that people in Artsakh feeling this pain, that Armenians lost the empathy towards each other,
Mm-hmm.
lost the urgency of feeling the same pain situation. That's why Hrant Melikian is saying that it has been done that everyone would consider nothing is depend on me.
Yeah.
In Azerbaijan, in the 1 million Armenian community city, for the national issues, we will see much bigger gathering than even for the New Year tree lighting part, because national issues should be much higher for us than anything else.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question on this topic of the Armenian government's responsibility. Besides just sort of going to the UN, besides raising this issue publicly, we have a dire situation where the entire, lifeline to Artsakh is blocked. What steps could Armenia take? For instance, could we bear the risk of being shot down, but still try to deliver some humanitarian cargo to Stepanakert?
Why not? Like you coming with the some, for example, scenario.
Right.
I do believe that scenarios could be imagined. In your patriotic war, you are not shaming what is okay, what is not okay. You're doing a partisan war things. You're doing a lot of some other possibilities. Who said that some pain shouldn't be? Your enemy is understanding only the language of power. Mm-hmm. Until you will not show that power. It could be military, it could be, I don't know, if you're able to find out and organize the situation when, for example, the whole Azerbaijani accounts would be sanctioned, then would maybe they start to feel pain. I don't know. Each states how they consider to be strong. They're having a special services, they're having a special forces, they're having a various scenarios preparations, they're having doing the urgency steps on many things. Who said that everything has been lost? 1992, we have the similar situation. Wasn't there any risk? But people took that risk and opened up that life road. And that's why the road name was Life.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has been bringing. Now we need to be prepared for that. And we need to talk. Okay, you're afraid of this, which meaning that you're understanding that you are in any way in a war and you're afraid of some military action, then do political action.
Right.
You said that, for example, process of recognition of Nagorno-Karabakh issues. Not another step which could be maybe raising the interest on the issues.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe another political part. Or even after 9 days, National Assembly is not accepting a stronger statement about this Azerbaijani aggression, and sometimes you need to feel shame that French Senate is much stronger on its expression of the situation that Armenian National Assembly. Yeah,
they shut down the Armenian opposition's introduced resolution because it contained, I guess, officially like the Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh or Artsakh. They fought to water down that statement.
Now, it's coming to the point. Blockade is not the action of war.
It is, of course. Yes.
Then what's mean not using Republic?
Mm-hmm.
You are in a war in any way. Information war is also a part of the war. Again, and the content of the war should be changing in our understanding, that it's not only bullets, economic, humanitarian, information, psychological elements. It's also part of the war. And then you need to, if I'm in a war, then why I need to be just simply afraid of that war situation.
So, Aspect, I want to also touch upon Armenia's recent public posturing, where they essentially blame Russia, but are expressing hope that the West, whether it's the EU, whether it's France, would come and help Armenia. There are reports of, I think for the first time ever, the head of MI6 being in Armenia. So it seems that there's a lot of new developments where the Armenian government is publicly moving away from Russia and putting its hopes on Western countries for support. What can we expect from the West in their, in our effort to safeguard the security of Armenia and Artsakh?
First of all, any country in the world would be only promoting their own interest. And on the West side, the interest is gas and oil and energy situations, which has been proved many times. That's why I don't think that anything would be helpful to wait. EU monitors what kind of a help they brought. 15 times Azerbaijan shows during their stay here, they not caring about their presence in deep Armenia.
By the way, today is their last day, I believe. They're going back, but they haven't filed a single report about any violation.
Maybe they even write every day a report there, but as even their representative said that it would be secret report only for EU decision makers. But the EU decision makers openly just 2 days ago in Bucharest signed a deal with Aliyev and praise him as a strategic partner. Now I don't know what will. When we're speaking about the France, it's again on the human side. Senate is accepting decisions, but the governing institution saying that it's not our position.
The executive.
Maybe they would invite or arrange a discussion in the UN Security Council and invite Minister of Foreign Affairs for some 10-15 minutes speech, but nothing more. And if nothing is changing on the ground, I don't think that it's any kind of a supporting. The same with the US, even the same with the UK. And MI6 representative here is only for serving British interests, not Armenian, not even Azerbaijan. That's why we need to perfectly understand that these people are perfectly already scanned, learn, and programmed with whom they are dealing in this region. Their visit here is just to checking or giving that program as things. This should be the message for Armenian leadership, that they need to make some change. And unfortunately they change because they are not going with the human part of the changes as a negotiators or as a decision makers. The all others would be always winning.
So
unfortunately we are in this situation, and this has been predicted in a way that having in the power the government which have lost patriotic war, after that will bring only another losses to the nation. That's all.
Let's talk about the UN Security Council today. There was supposed to be a hearing initiated by Armenia in the UN Security Council where essentially Armenia is requesting the unblocking of the corridor. But what do you think is going to be at play? Last time, I believe, Armenia blamed the Russian side after their so-called week in the Security Council, where they didn't explicitly blame Azerbaijan. Based on that track record, I don't know what to expect. I don't know if we should be confident. But what do you think are the interests of different parties and the international organizations, especially the 5 Security Council permanent representatives?
And for Russia, it's the most important to get the international mandate for their peacekeepers. That's why they would be presenting things which would be supporting to their arguments that they need recognition of Russian peacekeepers and give them a mandate for doing something.
Do you think that could be the reason why they're trying to play in the center between both sides?
Not only that, why they even doing this part, or sometimes presenting some videos and something like this, the guy is coming in with the hand not allowing the Azerbaijanis
Yes.
moving ahead, or 2-3 soldiers laying down on the car not allowing its move, and these videos is there. I do believe they will be using and saying that, guys, as you didn't recognize, this is only part that I can do, sorry. Give me the part, I would open up the road in 10 minutes, no problems on that.
So they essentially, just to reiterate, Russia is interested in getting a mandate that would allow it to use force.
Yes, not only to use it, recognition.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. By getting a mandate, they would be recognized by the West, the one who is dealing here, with whom now West is not. Even like read the old statements from the West, who has been condemning Azerbaijan on this part. They make the references to described some November 9 trilateral decision. But who signed that? Who is that 3 sides? Which point of that part? They never, they don't want to use the Russian forces providing like peacekeeping operations and so on. And if you're opening up the document, you're reading that, for example, UN institutions should come. How they would be coming there?
Yes.
Whom door they would knock, so that provide me security there. If Russian recognition would be there with the mandate, it would be Russians. Then the West should be interacting with Russia. That's why it's within the Russian interest, definitely, to get this part. For Azerbaijan, it would be part to put blame on everyone. That's why they are not going to open. They are will go with until escalation, until some Armenian or some Russian would try to use the force, and they would immediately say, like, they are guys with the guns, they are trying to kill us. It has been peaceful special service psychologists meeting, but they come and use something like this, blah blah blah, and put the blame that it's Armenian side or Russian side. In both cases, Azerbaijan is winning. And plus, it has its replications that, for example, they would be speaking about ecological other issues, reparational elements would be raised, and so on, putting 1,000 blames on everyone, and finally they again would be on the winning side and not speaking on the or at least would be saying that we need to have a control over something, or be present, or some information should be sharing with us. On both cases, it's on the positive side. For France, it would be saying that I supported Armenia, I would again support Armenia, would raise some issues, but the major points would be against go Russia. For US, would be again goes against Russia. And I don't know, in the moment when US and France would be ready to send their militaries here, maybe they would be interested to discuss that. Even if it's given to mandate, it's not only to Russians, but it's to others also. But they perfectly understanding by coming into this region, we would be facing also issues with Iran. And now, when we're saying the UN Security Council, do we perfectly know who are the group out there and who's interested? Like even with the CSTO, Azerbaijan sometimes laughing at us, saying that I have much more friends in CSTO. How about UN Security Council?
Right.
Even in the wartime, when Azerbaijan has been with the Turkey expressing thanks to the Security Council, that we have much more friends there who blocked the issues and so on, and that wasn't been a statement. Now there is no even the tragedy of bombing any point. That's why when people having a big hope on this, I don't know. Yes, a lot of sides would be trying to get their interest there, but unfortunately, I don't see that Armenian side is really trying to get something.
Yes.
It would be another point if nothing positive would come out of this, that Armenian side would put the blames on others. Now it would be UN Security Council, 5 permanent members who are not being able to resolve these issues.
Right.
But not them.
Yes. Well, that's the most important, right? Not them. So let's talk a little bit about the longer game, which is not just ridding Artsakh of its Armenian population, of basically ethnic cleansing of Armenians. But many analysts believe that closing the Berzor corridor is the first step by the Turkish-Azerbaijani alliance, and then Zangezur or Sunik, Sevan, and even Yerevan all could be at risk. A recent poll in Azerbaijan apparently indicates that 63% of Azeris believe that the corridor is essentially a done deal, and it will happen. And in their, articles in their press say that Artsakh understands that soon there will be an Azeri police in Stepanakert. What do you think basically is imperative now in terms of this discussion about the so-called Zangezur corridor? What should Armenia's position be? It seems like Armenia is okay with relegating Artsakh at least to the Russians, but they do understand the long-term implications, obviously. But they're saying we will not budge on the Zangezur corridor. Do you think that is a legitimate strategy?
Now, it's at least this is pronounced strategy. But if I'm saying, I'm also heard how the Azerbaijani pronounce their strategy, saying that if you will not give it peacefully, we'll come and take by force. Now, at that time, whom we will be blaming? That we didn't went and serve to our nation?
Right.
And this is the point when we've always said that you're losing Artsakh, you're losing Armenia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because without Zangezur, without Sevan, without Bayozdur, it won't be Armenia. I do believe that parallel to that is who said that Turkey would be only targeting on Sunik.
Right.
Why are we forgetting that the Turkish most interest are the Gümrük? Gümrük Railroad for them is not less important than anything else. That's why I think we don't doing right calculations. Second, Azerbaijan or our enemy is saying that we will be doing that. Right, when Turkish defense minister saying that our militaries would remain here until Zangezur corridor would be open, for what reason he waiting? Because he's interested in providing security of that corridor.
Right.
And this is my point, that whenever we're speaking about corridor, this should be lesson for us to learn. That whatever solutions would be found there, when that Armenian militaries should be providing security of Berzor corridor, just to simply to understand the approaches. The other nation is happy to speak about this as an enemy part. I don't know why our leadership is afraid to speak. And this is the point that we every time is, guys, don't bring the fear to us that this step or the other step would bring to the war. We are in a war, and the only possibility is to stop that, really take that, not go with the shame part.
Mm-hmm.
Hard, difficult, yes, but the only resource for us as of today is Armenian unification, like unity in all Armenian nation all over the world. But that would come until there is some vision or dream on the national side. Until it's not there. I remember, I think November or December 2020, there was or maybe it's even a bit later in 2001 during the pre-election, but there was an question answer session in the National Assembly, and there was a question to Nikol Pashinyan. They said that how you envision future of Artsakh Armenians, and he said that I envision that they would be happily living on their homeland, never saying that like homeland name is how it would be called. Now when I'm thinking, this is the point, is if this is his vision, because if that you're thinking about this and you're honest, you're going towards there. If not, then guys, until we don't have the proper state structures, proper state vision, national elite which is driving towards the national dream, don't amaze why the enemy is destroying our, or don't amaze that the others trying to bring their interest into the life by this way or the other way. We need to just simply every day by early morning when we're waking up, try to find what was my mistake last day not to repeat this day, and start from myself, not from the others. Now, with the hope, people will wait until the 3 something UN Security Council discussion. Then we will wait until the EU Human Rights Court decision or something. But on the ground, what would be changing? On the ground, the change should be happening, that the people will be able to live. And for that, you need to prepare. And if these 9 days we are not been preparing for the all solutions, even one as you alternatively propose for the air connection, understanding the whole risk, then we just simply serving to the interest of others, not to us. And this is the biggest problem.
Thank you. Our guest today was Tevan Poghosyan, and I'm Hovik Manucharyan. This has been a collaboration between Groong podcast and 168 Hours. Thank you for watching us, and feel free to subscribe to us on podcast.groong.org as well as 168 AM, and thank you for your time.